"I'd rather stay home than see them." That's what Matthew Perry admitted about his friends' co-stars before his death. While they smiled for cameras, the real drama happened off-screen. Secret fights, career jealousy, and a devastating reunion that exposed their fractured relationships. Today, the truth finally comes out about why TV's closest friends aren't friends at all. In the fall of 1993, Marta Kaufman and David Crane were trying to recover from a big setback. Their previous sitcom, Family Album, had been canceled after just 6 episodes. They wanted to come up with something new and different. One night in November, while drinking wine in their Warner Brothers office, they thought about creating a show about 6 friends in their 20s living in New York City. The idea was inspired by their own experiences. Both Kaufman and Crane had recently moved to Los Angeles from New York and missed the time in their lives when friends felt like family. They wanted to capture that feeling of uncertainty and possibility that comes during that phase of life. Kaufman later said they were drawn to the idea of exploring a time when the future felt like a big question mark, something everyone could relate to. The concept was personal for them. During their 20s, Kaufman, Crane, and their producing partner Kevin Bright were part of a close group of 6 friends in New York. They used their own friendships and quirks to shape the characters. Crane's sarcastic humor, for example, would later inspire Chandler Bing. By December 1993, they had created a 7-page outline for the show. It focused on 6 friends dealing with love, work, and city life, with friendship as the main theme. This outline became the starting point for what would later be one of the most famous TV shows ever made. At the same time, NBC was looking for a new comedy to appeal to young urban viewers. Seinfeld was a huge hit, but the network wanted something fresh that could capture the spirit of Generation X. Warren Littlefield, NBC's president of entertainment, was especially interested in shows about groups of friends. He had recently passed on a show called Living Single, which he later regretted, so he was eager to find the right idea. On December 4th, 1993, Kaufman, Crane, and Bright pitched their show, then called Insomnia Cafe, to Littlefield. He was impressed by how well they understood their characters and the world they wanted to create. He liked the idea of exploring how young adults formed tribal bonds as they figured out life in the city. Littlefield believed the show had potential and gave them the go-ahead to develop it further. He even ordered a put pilot, which meant NBC was committed to making the pilot or paying a penalty. When the show was first imagined, it was quite different from what it became. The title Insomnia Cafe reflected the creator's idea of a late-night coffee shop where friends gathered to talk about their lives. In this version, Joey and Monica were meant to be the main love story, and Phoebe was supposed to have a dark, goth-like personality. The creators wrote, "It's about sex, love, relationships, careers, and a time when everything feels possible. And it's about friendship, because when you're single in the city, your friends are your family." Over time, the title and concept changed. It went from Insomnia Cafe to 6 of 1, then Friends Like Us, and finally, just Friends. The coffee shop idea stayed, evolving into Central Perk, which became a key part of the show. The set design was even inspired by a real cafe in Los Angeles called Insomnia Cafe. Casting the show wasn't easy. Casting director Ellie Canner looked at over 1,000 actors for each role. David Schwimmer was the first to be cast because the creators had written Ross with him in mind. At first, Schwimmer didn't want to do TV again after a bad experience, but they convinced him. Courtney Cox was originally considered for Rachel, but she pushed to play Monica because she felt connected to her strong and competitive personality. Jennifer Aniston was one of the last actors to join. She was under contract for another show, Muddling Through, so the producers took a risk casting her as Rachel, hoping the other show wouldn't get renewed. Matt LeBlanc gave Joey a new twist by playing him as sweet and less intelligent, which the creators loved. Lisa Kudrow was already known for playing Ursula on Mad About You and was a natural choice for Phoebe. The cast came together for their first table read on April 28, 1994. The chemistry between them was instant. Courtney Cox suggested they all have regular lunches together to build their bond, just like the cast of Seinfeld. This helped them form a real friendship, which made their connection on screen feel authentic. That connection became one of the key reasons why Friends was so beloved. When Friends first aired on September 22, 1994, it became an instant hit. The very first episode, the one where Monica gets a roommate, had 21.5 2.5 million people watching. Right away, it became a show everyone talked about. In its first season, it got even more popular, with 24.3 million viewers tuning in every week. People loved it so much that within weeks, phrases from the show like "How you doing?" and "We were on a break" started popping up in everyday conversations. The show was set in New York City and followed 6 young adults trying to figure out life, love, and work. The cast: Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox, Lisa Kudrow, Matt LeBlanc, Matthew Perry, and David Schwimmer had amazing chemistry. They felt like real friends, which made the show so fun to watch. Critics liked it too, and it got Emmy nominations even in its first season. People loved how it mixed funny moments with heartfelt ones, making it a show that felt special from the start. The show wasn't just about laughs, it showed how friends could become family. The 6 main characters leaned on each other like a family would, which made a lot of sense to viewers who were living far from home or their real families. This idea of chosen family became so popular that people started to see their close friends as family in real life too. This was especially important for LGBTQ+ viewers, who often found support and acceptance through their friends. The show even tackled topics like same-sex relationships in a way that felt normal and warm, like in the episode with a lesbian wedding, which millions of people watched. It showed how friendships could be deep, supportive, and full of love, even with all the ups and downs. Friends didn't just change how people thought about relationships, it also shaped how they dressed and talked. Jennifer Aniston's hairstyle, the Rachel, became one of the most famous looks ever. Women everywhere asked for it at salons, and millions adopted the style in the 1990s. But it wasn't just about Rachel. Monica's high-waisted jean, Chandler's funny sweaters, and the gang's casual but stylish looks became huge trends. Years later, brands like Ralph Lauren even released collections inspired by the show, and they sold out quickly. The props in the show also became famous. The giant coffee mugs from Central Perk were everywhere, and even the orange couch became a symbol. People also started using phrases from the show like "pivot" when Ross tried to move a couch, or "Joey doesn't share food." Linguists even studied how friends influenced the way people spoke, like making "so" a popular way to emphasize things such as "that is so not true." As the show went on, it just kept getting bigger. It was one of the most watched shows on TV and peaked during its 8th season when 24.5 million people tuned in every week. The finale, the last one, aired on May 6, 2004, and 52.5 million people watched it in the US alone. It became one of the most watched TV episodes ever. Along with being a huge hit, the show won awards too, including 6 Emmys and several People's Choice Awards. Even years after it ended, people still loved it. It was ranked as one of the best TV shows of all time and is still watched by fans all over the world today. In 1994, just before Friends was about to air, the 6 actors were unknown to the world. Director James Burrows decided to take them to Las Vegas for a trip they would never forget. He flew them on a private jet to Caesar's Palace and gave each of them $500. He told them, "This is your last shot at anonymity. Once the show airs, you guys will never be able to go anywhere without being hounded." The group spent the night gambling and having fun together. Matt LeBlanc lost all his money at the craps table almost immediately, and Burrows handed him another $200 so he could keep playing. The trip wasn't just about fun. It was a way to help them bond before fame changed their lives forever. On the plane, they watched the pilot episode together for the first time. It made them feel like a team. Jennifer Aniston later said, "We were like, this could be something. This could be a hit show." That night, Burrows even got them a table in the center of Spago restaurant so everyone would notice them. They didn't know it yet, but that trip to Vegas was the last time they would be unknown. The connection between the actors wasn't just luck. From the first table read, it was clear they had great chemistry. Marta Kaufman, one of the show's creators, said in an interview years later, "It was like lightning in a bottle. We knew we had something special from that first read-through." Courtney Cox made sure their off-screen bond stayed strong too. Early on, she told the group, "Listen, I've just come off a show where there was a #1 on the call sheet. That person behaved badly, and it made it hard for everyone. Let's all work together. No one is more important than anyone else. This is a true ensemble." Matthew Perry shared this story in his memoir and said it shaped how the cast treated each other. They became close, eating lunch together every day and even playing poker between scenes. Their poker games inspired the season 1 episode, The One with the Poker. When it came to salaries, the cast's unity changed Hollywood. In season 1, they were each paid $22,500 per episode. But by season 2, Jennifer Aniston and David Schwimmer were offered $40,000 because their characters' romance was a big part of the show. Instead of letting this create problems, Schwimmer suggested they negotiate as a group. In 1996, he called a meeting in his dressing room and told them, "When we renegotiate our contracts, we should do it as a team. We should all get paid the same amount." This was a selfless move, since he could have negotiated more for himself. The cast agreed, and for season 3, they all made $75,000 per episode. Over time, their salaries kept rising, and by season 8, they were each earning $1 million per episode. This decision wasn't easy. Some executives thought their demands were too high, but the cast stuck together. Their unity also helped them get better working conditions and creative control. Because of their group negotiations, they even secured syndication profits, which still earn them around $20 million each year. In an August 2023 interview, Jennifer Aniston opened up about how close they came to falling apart. She explained just how serious it was, saying, "It would have destroyed us, I think, if someone was soaring financially." The group felt the weight of the situation. Each actor knew that putting their own success above the others could damage the close friendships that made the show special. Matt LeBlanc, who played Joey, later reflected on this period, saying, "We're all doing equal work, and we all deserve to be compensated in the same way." Meanwhile, the personal lives of the Friends cast were as dramatic and fascinating as the show itself. Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt's relationship was a perfect example of this. They met in 1998, started dating, and soon became Hollywood's golden couple. By 1999, they were walking red carpets together, and in 2000, they had a stunning wedding in Malibu with 200 guests, 50,000 flowers, and fireworks. But things weren't as perfect as they seemed. By 2005, after months of rumors, they announced their separation, and their divorce was finalized that October. The situation became even messier when Pitt was linked to Angelina Jolie, his co-star in Mr. and Mrs. Smith. This sparked endless tabloid stories about a supposed love triangle, keeping fans and the media obsessed for years. Despite the heartbreak, Aniston and Pitt stayed friendly. They even had a warm exchange at the 2020 SAG Awards, which made fans hope for a reunion. Aniston later talked about the breakup, saying in 2015 that no one did anything wrong, and sometimes things just happen. The split affected both their careers and public images. Aniston was often seen as the wronged woman, while Pitt faced criticism for his quick relationship with Jolie. This intense focus on their private lives overshadowed their professional achievements for years, showing just how much fame can complicate everything. For Matthew Perry, the story was darker. His addiction struggles were a constant battle during and after the show. It all started in 1997, when he got hooked on Vicodin after a jet ski accident. Things got worse, and during the peak of Friends, Perry admitted he was taking 55 Vicodin pills a day and weighed just 128 pounds. He couldn't even remember filming 3 years of the show because of his substance abuse. His health suffered too. In 2000, he was hospitalized for pancreatitis linked to his drinking. Rehab became a regular part of his life, and Perry estimated he spent $9 million trying to get sober. He went to rehab 15 times, but the addiction affected his career and his relationships with others on set. The rest of the cast supported Perry through his struggles. They even agreed to take pay cuts so he could earn the same as them during his hardest times. Their friendship extended off-screen, encouraging Perry to keep trying to recover. Perry later became an advocate for addiction recovery, even turning his Malibu home into a sober living facility in 2013. He openly spoke about his journey, hoping to help others. Tragically, Perry passed away in 2023 at the age of 54 from an accidental overdose. His death reminded everyone how addiction is a lifelong battle, even for someone who tried so hard to stay sober. The constant spotlight on the cast brought challenges for everyone. Aniston dealt with endless rumors about her personal life, especially about whether she wanted children. She later said it was deeply hurtful, as no one knew her personal or medical struggles. Lisa Kudrow also faced pressure, but it was about her appearance. She felt self-conscious being taller and larger larger boned than her co-stars. Seeing herself on TV only made these insecurities worse, reflecting the unrealistic beauty standards Hollywood imposes. For David Schwimmer, fame was overwhelming in a different way. After the show ended, he stepped back from acting because it had changed his relationship with people. He needed time to adjust and find comfort in being himself again. The intense fame of Friends had lasting effects, but the cast's genuine friendship helped them handle it together. During the 2021 reunion, Courtney Cox shared how much their bond meant, saying they became best friends, and that connection was life-changing for them and for the fans who loved the show. The cast's personal challenges also affected the show's production. Perry's addiction made things hard on set. Aniston once told him, "We know you're drinking," trying to help him. High-profile moments, like Aniston's divorce from Pitt, also brought tension. When Pitt guest starred on the show after their split, the irony of his role as a character who hated Rachel wasn't lost on anyone, but Aniston stayed professional. Other personal moments blended into the show itself, like Kudrow's real-life pregnancy, which became Phoebe's surrogacy storyline. Meanwhile, guest stars often found it hard to fit into the tight-knit cast. Tom Selleck, who played Monica's boyfriend Richard, admitted he felt intimidated because the main cast was so close, but that same closeness was part of what made the show work. Matt LeBlanc said they genuinely liked each other and had fun, which translated into the chemistry fans saw on screen. The final season of Friends was an emotional time for everyone involved. As the show neared its end in 2004, the atmosphere on set was filled with sadness and nostalgia. Jennifer Aniston, who played Rachel, later said that she cried every single day during the last month of filming. It was so overwhelming that Matthew Perry, who played Chandler, developed shingles from the stress during the last 2 weeks of shooting. The final episode, titled The Last One, was especially hard to film. James Michael Tyler, who played Gunther, shared that his last scene with Jennifer Aniston took a long time to complete because they both kept crying. In this scene, Gunther confesses his love for Rachel. The actors couldn't hold back their emotions, and the scene had to be reshot many times. Makeup artists were constantly fixing the cast's tear-streaked faces between takes. On January 23, 2004, the cast filmed their final scene in Monica and Chandler's empty apartment. The moment was heartbreaking. All 6 main actors broke down in tears. Lisa Kudrow, who played Phoebe, later called it a heart-wrenching moment and said it felt like the end of an era. The crew, many of whom had been part of the show for 10 years, were just as emotional. Director Kevin Bright had to stop filming several times so everyone could gather themselves. After the finale aired on May 6, 2004, the 6 main cast members, Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox, Lisa Kudrow, Matt LeBlanc, Matthew Perry, and David Schwimmer, had a private dinner at a restaurant in Los Angeles. This was their way of saying goodbye to the show and to each other, away from the public eye. It was an emotional evening. Matt LeBlanc, who had quit smoking during the series, started smoking again that night because of the stress and sadness. Jennifer Aniston cried for most of the dinner, while Courtney Cox tried to cheer everyone up by cracking jokes. After the show ended, the cast dealt with the change in different ways. David Schwimmer took a break from acting and moved to Chicago to focus on directing theater. Lisa Kudrow began writing and producing her own show, The Comeback, to fill the void left by Friends. Matthew Perry struggled the most. Just 2 weeks after the finale aired, he checked himself into rehab to deal with personal issues. The huge success of Friends became both a blessing and a curse for the actors. They found it hard to escape their famous characters. Matthew Perry, who was so closely tied to Chandler's sarcastic personality, had trouble finding different roles. He starred in Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip in 2006, a dramatic show, but audiences couldn't see him as anyone other than Chandler. The show was canceled after 1 season. He faced similar struggles with shows like Mr. Sunshine and Go On, which also didn't last long. Jennifer Aniston had more success, but often played roles similar to Rachel in romantic comedies like Along Came Polly and The Breakup. It wasn't until her dramatic role in Cake in 2014, which earned her award nominations, that she began to break away from the image of Rachel Green. Lisa Kudrow had a different challenge. Her quirky portrayal of Phoebe made producers hesitant to cast her in serious roles. To take control, she created and starred in Web Therapy, where she played a completely different character, a self-absorbed therapist. The end of Friends Friends also took a personal toll. In a 2015 interview, Matt LeBlanc admitted he had a nervous breakdown after the show ended. He said, "For years and years, I barely left the house. I was burnt out. I wanted to not have a schedule, not be somewhere." In 2021, the cast reunited for Friends, The Reunion, a special on HBO Max. This was the first time all 6 actors appeared together since the series ended. The reunion, hosted by James Corden, included nostalgic moments like revisiting iconic sets, reading old scripts, and behind-the-scenes stories. It also featured celebrity appearances from stars like Lady Gaga and David Beckham. Fans loved the emotional parts, like Matthew Perry admitting how much he struggled during the show. Critics, however, felt that some parts of the special, like the celebrity cameos, felt forced. Despite mixed reviews, the reunion received 4 Emmy nominations. The cast of Friends always seemed close on screen, but their relationships behind the scenes were not always perfect. In 2019, Matthew Perry revealed something surprising in his memoir. He admitted he had felt resentful toward his co-stars during the show. Perry struggled with addiction while filming and said he often felt left out and jealous of how easily his castmates seemed to succeed. This shocked fans, who had believed the actors were just as close in real life as their characters were on the show. In 2021, more questions about the cast's relationships came up during the Friends, The Reunion special. At one point, Jennifer Aniston seemed to flinch when David Schwimmer put his arm around her during a group hug. This happened around 1 hour and 37 minutes into the show. Fans noticed the small moment and began to wonder if there was any lingering awkwardness between the two, especially since they had admitted to having crushes on each other during the early days of filming. Lisa Kudrow later shared a story from the show's production that surprised everyone. In 2023, she told Vanity Fair about a big fight she had with Courtney Cox while filming Season 5, Episode 14, the one where everybody finds out. The argument was about how to handle an important scene. It got so heated that production had to stop for 3 hours because the two weren't speaking to each other. This story had been kept secret for more than 20 years, showing the pressures the actors faced while making the beloved show. After the show ended in 2004, the cast's careers went in different directions, and this also caused speculation about jealousy. Jennifer Aniston became the most successful, starring in hit movies and making a big return to TV with The Morning Show in 2019. Her continued fame reportedly created tension with some of her former co-stars, especially Matthew Perry and Matt LeBlanc, whose post-Friends projects didn't achieve the same level of success. David Schwimmer chose a different path. In 2008, he stepped away from acting to focus on directing. This reportedly upset the cast, who felt like he was leaving behind the career they had all built together. His first directing project, Run, Fat Boy Run, got mixed reviews, and he didn't return to major acting roles until 2016, when he appeared in The People vs. O.J. Simpson, American Crime Story. Lisa Kudrow's career after Friends was filled with critical praise, but not much commercial success. Her show, The Comeback, was canceled after 1 season in 2005, and though it was revived in 2014, the long gap reportedly left Kudrow feeling bitter toward the industry. She also seemed to grow apart from her castmates, who had smoother transitions into new projects. Matt LeBlanc faced the hardest time after Friends. His spin-off show, Joey, was canceled after 2 seasons in 2006. In a 2018 interview, LeBlanc admitted he stayed in his house for almost a year after the failure of the show, which worried his former co-stars. This period was tough for him and raised concerns about his mental health. Fans of Friends have also put a lot of pressure on the cast to stay close. In 2017, Courtney Cox shared a shocking story about receiving death threats from fans who were upset that she wasn't spending enough time with her former co-stars. One fan even broke into her home, demanding to know why she hadn't gone to Jennifer Aniston's birthday party. Cox said this forced her to hire more security. Social media also created problems. When Matthew Perry joined Instagram in 2020, he gained millions of followers quickly, but he was overwhelmed with questions about why he wasn't following his co-stars. The pressure became so intense that Perry turned off comments on his posts for a while, which only made fans speculate more about possible rifts between the group. While the cast shared a strong bond on screen, their relationship relationships were much more complicated behind the scenes. Over the years, they faced personal struggles, career challenges, and immense pressure from fans, making their story both surprising and deeply human.